CTs, conspiracy theorists, as I'm sure you all know, UFO believers and everything weird and wonderful. Today, I want to talk about the Paul and Evelyn Kemp photos. The one behind me. There were just two black and white photos taken from a simple Kodak camera by a Yam Hill country farmer. Okay, but the controversy is still stirred up to this day, as I'm sure you're not surprised really. Now, does the photo behind, taken in 1950, really show a UFO, the one behind me, like I said, or is it fake? Now, that's for you to decide. I would suggest you look up on the internet, see what you think. Now, the Kemp photos aren't the first UFO reported in the 1950s, but they are considered by many who study the topic the best UFO pictures or evidence that they exist that's out there today. Okay, now, better than the Rex Heflin photos. Now, the Rex Heflin photo, I'll give you a couple of seconds. There's the Rex Heflin photo. That was taken in the 1960s. This one's considered better. Even skeptics reckon that if they are fake, they're the best fakes out there. Now, Paul Trent and his wife Evelyn lived on a farm. Okay, so I'll show you the pictures of, Paul and Evelyn. They look to me, to be fair, like well-grounded, hard-working people. Not the sort of people who were dealing with faffing with fakes, eh? On the evening of May the 11th, 1950, Evelyn Trent had been walking back towards their house after feeding some chickens. When she said she looked up and saw a flying metallic disc moving in her direction. Obviously the disc in the photo. She rushed to tell her husband. He took two photos of the object, which then, they said, quickly flew away. So, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, pew. It wasn't until now, Paul Trent didn't think much of the incident, as he waited for the end of the film to be reached before even getting them developed. And apparently, while the negatives were knocking around or under a couch, the kids were playing with them. So, he didn't think much of it. But as soon as he showed a friend, after he got it developed, then the picture started to get interest, right? So the photos soon appeared in front of the telephone register. That's the local rag of the area. But before long, the national media got involved and the story started to escalate. The photos even made Life magazine. So the Trents estimated the object was maybe 30 foot in diameter and came within a quarter of a mile where they were standing. It made no noise, no flames. Now, if you're into the UFO subject, that's a really, really common thing. The Westall incident, 1966 on Australia, there are over 300 witnesses to that one, and they all said it made no noise, no flames. It kind of just existed there. The Trents never received any money for the photos. Now that's important, isn't it? The Trents never received any money, and the negatives went missing for a little while as well. Apparently, Life magazine had them and didn't return them. Now, in the weeks and years following the sighting, the Trents in the photo came under the scrutiny of investigators and scientists. I'm sure you can imagine, can't you? Well, look, you have to check these things out. So a focal point of the investigation were the original negatives. It was determined quickly that the negatives themselves had never been doctored. As far as the scenes they depicted, every shadow, reflection and distance within the two frames were analysed for inconsistencies that might highlight a hoax, but nothing was ever found. So these negatives were actually scrutinised by loads of different people, and no one has come up with the suggestion that they were a hoax. Like I said, look, you can be conned by it. You could be conned by anyone. I get that. But do you honestly think, and I'll show you the photos of the couple again, do you honestly think they look like the sort of people who will pull a hoax off? Nothing fishy was found then, so the negatives are sound. Now, the roll of film and a sequence of photos imply another important point, and I've covered on this earlier. The Trents were not in a hurry to broadcast the image. Paul didn't have the film developed immediately after taking the UFO shots. Instead, he finished the roll on Mother's Day, I don't know how many days that is between him taking the photos. Then he waited a while longer to develop the role. And when he did, he didn't choose a specialist lab, but rather a photo finishing service through his local drugstore. Undoubtedly, the most convenient and cheapest option. In addition, as noted earlier, the Trents didn't mention the flying saucer or their photos to anyone for a month. And then it was only by another person urging that the incident and shots were made public, obviously his friend. Finally, it seems obvious as Trents didn't place a high value on the negatives since their young children were found playing with them under the couch. Not really the expected actions of people trying to pass off a hoax for personal gain. So that's true, isn't it? That's true. So look, there's the photo, the Kent photo. Now, I'm going to quickly address it again. You've got two hard-working farmers back in the 1950s. Okay, so I'm sure that hoaxes were available. It's not like as easy as nowadays where you can Photoshop everything, but I'm sure there are ways to hoax things. I mean, like the question was, is that like a disc hub or you know, is it a plate? You know, is it hanging from a string? And according to everyone who's investigated the negatives, then that is a simple no. All right. So, as I say, these are the Paul and Evelyn Trent photos. See what you think. Look into the internet. You know, and if you can come up with anything, please drop me a line. Now, this is Everything Weird, Nothing Normal YouTube channel. If you can, subscribe and like. And then put some things down on the comments because I love talking about it. It's a massive subject. I'm so into the UFO side of things. I mean, obviously, you can tell that I'm a big fan and I'm a big believer. But please drop me a line and we can discuss things. Thanks very much for tuning in and keep an eye on the next one. Cheers.